find you a bucky?
It's not a bucket. It's a Hilux.
iDiskiTV powered by Sports Betting. iDiskiTimes.co.za. It's Mamelodi Sundowns 1, Orlando Pirates 1. We had a big wrestling match here before the game ended. We always debate football matches. It was an interesting one at the beginning of the game because you could see that Sundowns had control of the game. Cameron Denson redeemed himself. He scored an equalizing goal. He wasn't in the game. And then from that point, Sundowns lost the control they had in the game. In fact, Orlando Pirates fans will walk away thinking that they could have got a goal. Siema 1-2 from the middle, 1v1 with the goalkeeper. He could pass it to Muremi, who is free. If he passes that, taps in, it's a goal and a win for Orlando Pirates. Other than that, nothing much in terms of chances, if we are being honest. If that was scored, Orlando Pirates would have won. Not for the first time, second time, a third time, a fourth time. These teams, blockbuster fixture, playing together in high-profile matches, and Orlando Pirates comes up with a plan that says, you have the ball, we will mark it, when we have it, we will create better chances than you. And that's how it unfolded. Lindo Pep, let me not take words from your mouth.
Yeah.
It's your terrain to analyze. What did you think of it?
Yeah, Mr. Nkeo, the technical team.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Nkeo, this is why we get the big bucks. In big games, that's why I always say, and I start like that, because this is why we come to our work, and these are the games. Not to say that other matches are not, they don't matter, but these are the games that bring us to life.
Games of consequence.
Games of consequence. Mr. Nkeo, irons sharpen iron. And I will always say, people have no idea. Unfortunately, they don't get the privilege to see the behind the scenes of what happens with iDiskiTV. We are the biggest analysts. We are the biggest fan channel, or maybe rather, let me say, we are the biggest channel on YouTube football-wise because iron sharpens iron. People have no idea how we sharpen each other in terms of there's so many things that we don't agree with each other. But I think that's what makes football. Absolutely. I think even the coaches, the technical team, the football players, when they are at Bafana, they go through something like that.
And we learn a lot from each other as well.
Mr. Nkeo, I have to give Orlando Pirates credit. I have to give him Mamelodi Sundowns credit.
Before you say it, let me say to everyone who didn't see it, you were the first person to see the pattern of the game, and it bored you within the first 20 minutes because you could see how it was going to unfold. And we were trying to persuade you to say, look, it's still interesting, it's still interesting. And you were like, I'm out of this game, the way that you were seeing it unfold. So well done for sporting that, because what we saw later was something you saw from the beginning. Yeah,
Mr. Nkeo, from a technical perspective, it's when you're looking at the game from a coach's perspective, you are able to see that teams are not... Remember, Mr. Nkeo, part of performance as a coach, your role as a coach is you understand that you might leave with 3 results. So you focus on the performance. And part of performance is to stop the other opponent from performing. Yeah. For me, when I saw Mamelodi Sundowns, number 1 is technically we couldn't find each other. And number 2, opponent, Orlando Pirates was reactive in terms of their press. Another thing is, for me, I feel like Miguel Cardoso was naive by playing a very big high line because I saw so many opportunities for Orlando Pirates to run behind. The wrong thing that the Orlando Pirates did in the first half, in my opinion, is that Baba Shine a bait, Baba Begeli stock sweet or Mamelodi Sundowns. And that changed the game plan. And that's why you need to give Sundowns credit for that as well. Yeah. To say, we changed, we forced the Orlando Pirates to change their game plan in the game. And that's why the coach was frustrated. That's why Umbona in the first half, Abizu Makhopa, to talk to him, because he could realize that the center backs are rushing to play the ball behind because the Sundowns is stock sweet, it's a bait. But what Sundowns did, that for me, is they playing a high line. They're trying to compress the space of Orlando Pirates. Yeah. But every time Abba Petty Paula, they look predictable in terms of their patterns of attack.
You know what they're going to do.
You know what they do. There's no dynamic midfield runs from Marcelo Allende and as well as Ununo. For me, Ununo today, this is a game where you are supposed to show. Marcelo Allende did not show.
Allende and Sales.
And Sales, in my opinion. They were very static.
Matthews, you were looking for them to be complicated a little bit.
Dynamic midfield runs, Mr. Nkeo. That would cause unpredictable runs. That would cause the Orlando Pirates danger. For me, I'm not surprised that Siema won the man of the match. I'm not surprised that Umbogas.
Well done, Orlando Pirates.
Well done, Orlando Pirates, from a defensive perspective. Fantastic game plan, Mr. Nkeo, from them. They won each and every first ball. They won each and every second ball. But now the game changes first half. First half, for the first time in a very long time, half ground. Full half ground. They did not even create a single opportunity in 85 minutes. The only opportunity they got is by a mistake, Orlando Pirates, where they won the ball from Umremi. They created that goal. And then Akono Shalulile Ampura Mesa. Or the second half opportunity, Leo Shalulile, I Mesa now, second. But if you check the game plan, Mamelodi Sundowns, Mr. Nkeo, for me, Coach Ouaddou won the tactical game plan. Mabati coach ikshaye 10-0 bakhuluma nge-situation so unfortunately that it did not win the game. If Usiema scores that goal, Orlando Pirates are winning this football game. Orlando Pirates goes into this match with Udansin. a young football player. And I think the anticipation from the coach is he knew that Mamelodi Sundowns is a position-based team. At the highest level, it's about finer margins. You have to respect the performance and the structure, the game plan of the opposite team.
Yeah, for sure.
And he knew very well that I've got Umbula, I've got Tutite Penchini. I need a midfielder that can cover longer spaces or larger spaces. That's the right word. And that's why I'm on Nemtatjela. If you check equality Nemtatjela without the ball, is that he covers distance. He's got unbelievable work rate. He's very good in terms of 1v1 marking. The same thing with Tanzin. If you check equality Tanzin is, if Magangal Petangi Pola, you won most of those balls. He's very good in terms of anticipation, no greedy game. Midfielders are good in terms of anticipation in a game. They knew that to Allende, every time Magapeti Pola, allow him to have the ball. But what he will do, we will force him to take a negative touch. And Magatata, a negative touch, is forced to play a negative pass. If we are 10 at the Upeganenati, and now he's forced to play a long ball. Magadala a long ball, we are anticipating that long ball. And that's the reason why Mamelodi Sundowns could not create. Lack of dynamic runs into midfield, lack of third man runs behind the defense. And from me, from a defensive perspective, you have to also give them credit because the opportunities that the Orlando Pirates scored, Ronza was crucial today. And that's why big football team, Mr. Cole, other than distribution, the biggest football clubs in the world, top teams, invest in a highly technical, highly top-class goalkeeper. And that's what Mamelodi Sundowns and Juno runs. Without two runs are here in terms of organization, handling, making big saves. You said something very important before the start of the game. Orlando Pirates is a big club. They're a team that goes into every game anticipating that they will create 3 or 4 big chances.
It's a matter of scoring them.
It's just a matter of scoring them. And with a big club like Mamelodi Sundowns, you have to anticipate. And that's why having a solid goalkeeper is important. You're anticipating that Tusipo Ronza will make 1 or 2 to still save you in the game. That's why big goalkeepers and fantastic goalkeepers, they win you the league. Yeah. Because they pull out 15 important saves in the season.
Yeah. Can I just make a segue? I'll come back to this. I just want to make a point, and I want to take you somewhere with Sundowns.
Yeah.
There's something about, in the sport of boxing, one of the biggest, highest profile boxer was Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson had a brilliant record, of course, went to prison. He was troubled. He had a lot of troubles because he was abandoned as a kid. He didn't really have a good family structure. Yeah. And one of his early coaches is a guy called Teddy Atlas. And Teddy Atlas, bane beef no Mike Tyson. And they separate. And whenever Teddy Atlas is a very brilliant boxing commentator, Teddy Atlas, whenever Mama Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson lost all of the biggest fights he had to fight. So Tina, as the world, we love him. We say he was a big winner. And Teddy Atlas makes this point that every time Mike Tyson begatola a resistance, he lost matches. And that's why in one of his most famous fights, he bit the ear of Evander Holyfield. Because in that fight, if you look at it, if you watch the tape, he was losing that fight. Yeah. Evander Holyfield was giving him resistance. I want to take it back to Sundowns. Look at them in the Champions League. Yeah. And look at them in many matches of consequence against the Pirates with MTN 8. Sundowns, we love them. We love even people say that we are actually paid by Sundowns, for example. Because we always give them credit to say that they play in a fluid structure, in a way that we identify ourselves, in a culture that as Black South Africans we identify with. But the Sundowns, if you look at them, even maybe 2023's Rulani's team, is that whenever there's resistance, they end up losing matches. That doesn't mean that they don't draw them. Sometimes they will draw them. But whenever there's resistance, they tend to, and I want us to unpack their game plan. Their idea is that they are going to circulate that ball. Yeah. But given that Pirates consistently stifles them every time they play recently, you would think that they would find an idea of being more than just sharing the ball. Magune resistance, what are they going to do? What is their second idea? What is their, so this is where I want us to head to. In these matches, in the Champions League, and they were very lucky to get to the final of the Champions League, in these matches that are very difficult, who are Mamelodi Sundowns? We know they are the best team in the country. Won 8 leagues in a row. No one in this country will ever take that away from them. So this is not to demean Sundowns. But in matches, in big matches, I'm tending to see one pattern. Ukhadosa Sundowns ngendlela one. Ukuthi makadlala Esperance de Tunis, ashaye uRulani. He said to himself, we will defend against Sundowns. We know they love the ball. When they have it and they can't break through, they don't know what to do with it. Let's talk about that.
Mr. Nkeu, you know what? For me, this is an interesting conversation. And for me, I don't want to sound smart now. I'll speak something that comes at the top of my head. Because sounding smart will actually, I will lose trail of my thought. For me, when I see Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi, and I'll get to Mamelodi Sundowns because maybe this will link to Orlando Pirates. Football is about planning. And with that planning, there's systems. Football has shifted in a game where, or in a space where the system wins you leagues. Mr. Nkeo. And the type of players in the system sometimes, but basanokushawa performance of the other team. Your Orlando Pirates are exceptional in terms of those one game preparation, where they would plan just for a one game. In Mamelodi Sundowns, in my opinion, when I see how they struggle in matches of consequence, Mr. Nkeo, I don't think it's a coaching thing. I don't think it's a player thing. I think it's a mentality thing. I think the mentality and the ability of wanting to do the same thing over and over again. Football is about repetition.
Because what they, and you said it in recent videos, a team system.
Yes.
Bazokshaya a system. Now, everyone knows the system. It's just that other teams don't play that system. But we know how it looks like. It looks like two centre backs, to the midfield with Debza, to possibly the midfield in front of him. Maybe when we have an option, we go to Matthews or we go to Salas or Ribeiro. Now, that means other people get to know what that system will look like against us.
Yeah. Sometimes in a match of consequence, because football, there's system, there's percentage, and there's momentum. In a big game like that, sometimes momentum can fool you. It can swing into the opponent's favor, and they score a goal, and then it immediately changes how you need to play. Now you are all of a sudden chasing the game. Mamelodi Sundowns is a team that plays well all the time when they lead 2 goals. When they lead 1 goal, they're always a vulnerable team because they will emphasize the system. Let's build out from the back, short passes, linking up the play, wanting to score the perfect goal. And in come competitions, no one remembers you how beautiful you used to play. That's why I think Upito was successful. Upito knew how to sacrifice. That's why Mamelodi Champions League, Tico outside, Mishisho outside, and then he plays Ngabola 4. He plays Ngabo Mabunda because he understood that in certain games you needed to assign certain responsibilities and roles to certain players on the pitch. But with the naivety,
and also he was not afraid to win a game.
He was not afraid. And for me, Mr. Nkeo, the primary job. Sometimes Orlando Pirates knew in this game, and they were tactical. Their primary weapon, Mr. Nkeo, was to play a counter attack because they knew that the Sundowns is a system team. They will never change. They've got the arrogance. But also attacking a full back too. And they knew that I will play Sumuremi there. And that was the game plan that they have in Orlando Pirates. But the second weapon,
discourage the fullbacks by playing very good wingers.
Yes, very good wingers.
Just behind them.
And another weapon in Champions League, and it's set piece. It's set piece. Teams like Orlando Pirates, Pyramids, Al Ahly, they use it as a secondary weapon. And in Mamelodi Sundowns, because they are a team that's arrogant in terms of their style of play, it's easier to counter that and to counter punch that, more especially when we've got better players in attack.
What does this mean for Pirates, though? I think we've spoken for too long with Justice is Panicking. I feel like there's so many other things we need to touch on, but maybe let's summarize it with the Pirates. I think that they will, that's my opinion, my takeaway, that they will be happier with what they achieved today. It was not a win, and we can talk about they have not won the league and all of that, but for what they wanted in this particular game, they will be happy with what they got.
Let me tell you something, Mr. Nkeo. This is what I'm feeling from last season. We're standing here, you and I, after the 4-1 game. After the 4-1 game, for me, away from the scoreline, is I had this feeling, Mamelodi Sundowns is 10 steps ahead from the Orlando Pirates. That was the feeling I got. After they won 2-1, really scoring 2 goals, even when they won that game, I thought Mamelodi Sundowns was still superior because they had an inferior complex in that game.
By winning a plan.
For me, after this game, win or loss, I said to Shane Noto and you during the week, I said what I want to see from Pirates is a shift of mentality. For me, this is not a game of results, and it's a game of mentality. I want to see an Orlando Pirates team that genuinely believes they can beat Mamelodi Sundowns. Because over the years, even under Jorge Rivero, when they won a game plan, but maybe they did not have the will and the belief that they can beat Mamelodi Sundowns. But in this game, and now I'm seeing an Orlando Pirates as a team that has tactically grown, and there's an evolution that's happening at Pirates. You choose to see it or not. For me, and the second thing is the mentality. The Orlando Pirates players, this is the season where if they don't win the league, I will be extremely disappointed.
Yeah, because it will be pointless to talk about them, especially Zanda and maybe when they beat Chiefs or whatever happens in the Soweto Derby and maybe whatever happens in any other competition, if in the end they don't win the league. Because at some point, Sundowns actually is going to need to be more than Ugbashagu Game A1. It will also be, especially because they are the 2 best teams in the country, it will also mean that you have to beat them in the league in the long run.
Mr. Nkeo, I don't watch football for stats sometimes. I watch football for feeling. And the feeling that I get is that Orlando Pirates, after this, is a shift of mentality. I think that for the first time in a very long time, the difference between Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns is the coach. I had said last season, Debza might be the difference, Reynas might be the difference. I think with the job they did in the January in the transfer window, I think they've closed the gap in terms of player-wise. But I think the difference now is the coaches. I believe that Orlando Pirates is a better coach.
All right, there you go. Thank you so much, Lindo Pep. We hope you appreciate this as well, this discussion, because it's very passionate. We just watched the game as well. The takeaway here is that it was a very difficult game for both teams. If they take any risk, they will be suffering, one of them. And I suppose even with Cardoso, my sympathy with him is that if he knows, that's why he takes out Sales for Jaden. He knows that if I lose this game, this Cardoso must go thing is going to come back again. So Sundowns fans, I know you expect him to go out there, win 4-1 again, but it's very difficult because if he goes all out, Pirates are very difficult on a counter. Siema should have scored his 1v1. So Orlando Pirates maybe could have got something from this game as well. So I suppose with Cardoso, he will sleep a little bit easier tonight knowing that at least he did not lose. iDiski Times was suspecting.
Shapunjan bafowethu igama lami Lindo Pep, the best analyst in the country. Please don't forget to subscribe to iDiski TV. Tanko.
This is Bongane Benedict Villagazi, they call me so. Niazi Bafetu, I'm a coach for life. They're back in winning ways. Please, I tell you to subscribe to iDiski TV.